There's something that you need to know. There's some answer that you've been waiting for, some kind of synchronicity, some kind of confirmation I'm hearing. But let's see what flipped right here. What do you need to know for my viewer collective? Hmm. Timing card. Timing is everything. And it could be something to do with, starting over, like something for a lot of you guys, this could be in career, like when can I start over? When is the growth? Like you could be working on a project and you seem like it's never gonna end, but look at this. Forgiveness fell over here and it says autumn. This could Autumn's like in the winter, I think, right? New intentions. Guys, let me tell you something about this forgiveness card. Mhm. Forgiveness is very important. And on my spiritual journey, I knew about forgiveness, and I'm not a, I call myself a good person. I'm like, but in other people's eyes, I might not be a good person, depending how, we interact. And I feel that some of you guys are in the same position. Maybe you don't look at it because you're grounded and you know what's right is right. And maybe, the other person feels that they were right and you were wrong. And at the end of the day, we gotta let them have their own opinions. And you can say infinite, but they hurt me because look how much hurt somebody. I told you, and it is possible. Nobody's perfect. All of us go through it, even as a kid. Even we could say, "Oh, our parents were assholes." Yeah, but they went through the same process as us. Maybe not as hard. Maybe even worse. We don't know. However, what I've learned on the spiritual journey is forgiveness, how important it is, but it's not even about the other person. Yes, we would love an apology, but some people they're not built for that. Especially, the first thing that caught my eye was guilt. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna share this. This is real true story I heard. But guilt, some of you guys have guilt, and you probably didn't do nothing in your eyes. Even in their eyes, they know they hurt you. Maybe they took it too far. But the guilt, I didn't understand the guilt within. I didn't know was forgiveness was for us, like you, viewer. And this could be even you sitting around and your inner child going, why? Why did you let us? Because you could feel guilty. Like, yo, how? How was it that I allowed this to happen? How did I not see it? And let me tell you, some of you guys were going through an awakening. You couldn't understand why, and maybe they were throwing magic. God is going to show you in the right time. You can't rush it, but relax. Take this time to really go within, do the inner child healing, any kind of healing that you have, and practice and study. Like look on YouTube, forgiveness, do meditation. At first, I felt punished, like, yo, why? When I explained or my testimony, you know, you're gonna understand. Like, yo, I went into my spiritual journey understanding what I had to go, but I didn't know it was gonna be this intense. But I wasn't gonna back out. And even though they came up against me, remember I tell you, it's spiritual warfare. You can't take it personal, and it still hurts. I'm not gonna tell you it doesn't. However, they knew what they were doing, and there's still consequences. But I I learned about forgiveness in a different level, and I seen and I felt the struggle, the pain, the hurt. And I'm not here to judge who had more or not, because you can't compare our journey to another person. They're hurt. Oh, you hurt more. There's not an award for that shit. And I laugh because I said it in the other video. I wouldn't want my siblings to go through what I went through. And guys, as a matter of fact, I had told God, let me handle it because they wouldn't be able to handle it. And I'm not talking this BS. I'm talking demonic, you know, generational curses. So there's people that they don't even know what they're talking about. I sit there and but at the same time, yo, how all that witchcraft, all the black magic, never would have expected it from this. Look, soulmate energy, decisions, and a proposal. Integration of yin and yang energies. This is where you have to go within and really balance your masculine and feminine energy. Some of my ladies that are watching this, you got too aggressive. You had to heal that daddy wound, that aggressive masculine energy. But you don't want to stay there. Pay attention who you're listening to. You have to balance it. Go back into your feminine energy. And for some of you, you could be dealing with a person that you felt that Ahab, like, oh my God. And that Jezebel energy started to piss you off, but it was somebody else that was backing you up. You have to pay attention. And if you're a fella, you could have fell to your knees and it was something within you. You couldn't move. You felt, or many women felt that oppression, that, and I'm going to talk about it in the other radio. What they taught me, what my interpretation is when it comes to man or woman going through this process. But a lot of you guys could have that guilt, like, yo, like, and guess what? Your other person could be mirroring the same thing. Yeah. Spark, new life, fresh. Whoever, if this is not for all of you guys, but for some of you guys, there's somebody that could have ran you off, but like I said, it was, spiritual. So somebody could be guilt, either you viewer or your person, and you're like, I don't want to go back and yeah, trust me, you or your person, they feel the guilt. Yeah, look, Venus offer coming. This is love. But somebody feels the loss. You or your person not feeling enough. I'm telling you, some of you guys are mirroring. All I hear, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a bunch of crows. Rah, rah. And on my end, they sent all kinds of attacks. But I have all my archangels or the angels that God provides for me to, and there's a radius they can't pass. You hear them? They just stop. You have to be able to know how to command. God gave us authority. Use it. Learn it. Don't use this little journey for doing bad. You have your choice. Use it for good or for bad. Look, they just stop. But you're going to have people just rah, rah. They're trying to confuse you. They want to, look, it's all in your head. And it keeps you in this energy. Yeah. Look, cold and controlling. And you could, if this is not you, this is your person reminiscing, like, oh, and the devil could be right there. Did you see how you treated them, him or her? For some of you guys, it could have been a triangle, but you're ready to move on. You're ready. You could be serious, and there's no hard feelings. Apology, you give it to God. If you could be saying that, or maybe they're telling you, but still, there's a guilt within them. Maybe within you. And you or them could be silent. And I feel like the tables are turning because they're in this energy. If this is you're going to have to go through your karmic lesson. Better smiling than crying, or maybe at the same time. But for the ones that I just heard, you shall be the head and not the tail. For some of my bitches, you vas a estar dando cabeza, you giving head, or maybe you are right now. Nostalgia, like, oh my God, and that's your strength. Oh, you tearing it up. For my fellas, you could be down there in chinga, and it could be a new person, or your person's pissed. Why did I do that? Yes, look. could be tossing salad, and you're like, I ain't kissing your ass. Fuck that. Y'all close off. I need a fucking mask. I ain't going down there, bitch. Toxic as hell. You're like, you could just be dealing with a little bit of, guilt and disgust. Like, why would that be person? Magic. Look, receive and Pluto letting go of what was. Look, how was I attracted? It was fated. It had to happen.